You're applying to this esteemed job, this high paying six-figure job, and you can't spell check, or you can't proofread, or you don't have enough attention to detail, which is a skill that you have listed on your resume, to make sure that everything is correct and everything is spelled properly. That is a huge red flag. Welcome back to the official Thompson Resume Writing YouTube channel, where I share weekly tips and hints on how to update, prepare, or refresh your resume and LinkedIn profile for your job search. I am Tamika Thompson. I am the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company. I specialize in transforming bland, lackluster resumes and LinkedIn profiles into powerful selling tools that help corporate mid-level, management, and executive professionals land interviews 2 times faster. For this video, I am giving you several things that you should take a look at before you officially submit your resume for a job. It's important that your resume is right and tight, and that none of the things that are on this list is in your resume. Let's get right into it. There is nothing worse than starting your job search, applying to a couple of jobs or even more than that, and then for whatever reason going back to take a look at your resume and realizing that there was an error, there was a typo, something was incorrect, something was misspelled. It's like the worst feeling in the world. And I should know because it happened to me. I'm so ashamed. I am so ashamed. But let me tell you guys the story. So one time there was this job that became available, and I updated my resume on a whim because I really wanted it. It was with a great company, the salary was great, and it was exactly the type of job that I wanted to take next in my career. So I went ahead and updated my resume quick, fast, and in a hurry, proofread it, aka screened through it once or twice, and everything looked good, so I just applied to it. Lo and behold, I opened my resume right after I applied and realized that I had a typo, y'all. And it wasn't a typo like on the second page at the very bottom of the document. No, this typo was front and center at the very beginning of my resume in my targeted headline. Y'all, I could have just passed out because I was just so done. I was so done. Luckily, I ended up getting an interview anyway, but the recruiter did point it out and said that they wanted me to fix the typo before they officially forwarded it to the hiring manager. I'm glad that I still got an interview, but seriously, do not be like me. So in this video, we're going to talk about things that you should check before you officially hit that apply button. Let's do it. Did you know that 58% of resumes contain a typo? That is a large number. And even though typos may seem insignificant to you, they are a big deal to recruiters. So much so that as part of a survey, 77% of recruiters said that they would immediately disqualify or eliminate a resume that had a typo on it. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. You're applying to this esteemed job, this high paying six-figure job, and you can't spell check, or you can't proofread, or you don't have enough attention to detail, which is a skill that you have listed on your resume, to make sure that everything is correct and everything is spelled properly. That is a huge red flag. To make sure that your resume is devoid of any typos, here are some tips. Number one is to read it aloud several times. Number two is to send it to someone that you know for them to read it several times. And number three is to read through it several times at several different times. So maybe you proofread it on a Monday at 7 p.m. and then on Wednesday you take a look at it at 7 a.m. and then that Friday you take a look at it at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Sometimes when you read something once, your mind sees what it wants to see, but the second time it may actually be reading it. So those are 3 ways to make sure that your resume has no typos, and when you're applying, that it's 100% devoid of all of them. Grammar and punctuation can be another thing that trips people up. Apostrophes, commas, and periods matter, y'all. And I get it. Writing is one of those things where you either love it or you hate it. You either have it or you don't. It's not everyone's strength. And if it's not yours, that's totally okay. That's exactly why you should reach out to a resume writer, such as myself, to take the task of writing your resume yourself off of your back. You can also use tools such as Grammarly to make sure that your resume is grammatically correct. Number 2 is contact information. I cannot tell you how many resumes I receive for critique, or people who send me their resume as part of my onboarding process who have the incorrect phone number or a typo in their email address. Seriously, it happens more often than you think. And this is information that should be 100% correct, because naturally, if a recruiter likes what they read and they're interested in speaking with you for an interview, they are going to want to call you, they're going to want to email you. And if there's a typo in your email address, or if a phone number is missing, or the phone number is wrong, they can't get in touch with you. And that is a major problem. I actually had a recent client make this mistake. So she sent her resume to me for a critique as part of my onboarding process to get started with working with me. And I noticed on her resume that her phone number was incorrect. When I went to give her a call to speak for our consultation, the phone number was wrong. And so I had to reach out to her via email, and she replied back to me with the correct number. And when we spoke on the phone, she let me know that she had changed her number a while back, but it was never updated on her resume. Imagine if I was a recruiter, she literally would have just lost a whole opportunity from that one little mistake. So a rule of thumb is when you update or change your phone number, you definitely want to make sure that in addition to the other documents that you may be updating and accounts that you may be updating, you want to update your resume with that information as well. And the same goes for your email address as well as the city and state in which you reside. Number 3 is consistency. And what I mean by consistency is if you're using one font at the beginning of your resume, that font should be continuously throughout your resume. Your name should not be in Arial, and then, your job titles be in Garamond, and then the bullet points for your job are in Georgia. That's not what you want to do. You want to make sure you're using the same font throughout, or if you're using 2 different fonts, you're using them the same way throughout the document. You also want to make sure that the font size is the same on all of your job titles throughout the document in all of your job descriptions. And you also want to make sure that each job that you have on your resume has about or around the same number of bullet points for each one. Also, with your job bullets, don't use arrows for the first job that you list, and then use circles for the second job, and then use little dashes for the third job. Choose one and make sure you're using that throughout the entire document. If you have page numbers on your resume, then you want to make sure that number is on each and every single page, not have page 1 on the first page, and then there's no other page numbers on any page after that. Because come on, that just makes no sense. Nothing is more confusing for recruiters than trying to read a resume that is just all over the place, is not cohesive, is not consistent, and just has a bunch of random elements. So maybe your name is super big, but then everything else is super small, or maybe everything on the first page is a bunch of different sizes. That's confusing, and it can interrupt the reading experience, and that's exactly what you do not want to do. Keep everything consistent, keep everything the same, and make sure everything flows appropriately throughout the entire document from start to finish. Number 4 is errors listed in the information that's on your resume. So you know when you started your job, you know when you left the job or when the job ended, you know what your job title was. And while you may know this information and recruiters don't, remember they do employment verification and background checks before you officially come on board. So if anything is off or anything is wrong, it's going to come back and it's going to make you look like you either lied or like you falsified information. So please, before you hit send, make sure that your to and from dates are correct. Make sure that your job titles are correct, and make sure that you're using the job title that you were given when you were hired, not one that you're using for maybe keyword stuffing or keyword optimizing reasons, or using a job title that you did not have at all. Because trust me, the last thing that you want is a recruiter looking at your resume sideways or asking you a ton of questions because it just doesn't make sense. So check everything that's on the document to make sure that it's accurate and nothing is fluffed up or inflated. Number 5 is to make sure that your resume is appropriately targeted for the job that you're applying to, and to ensure that the appropriate keywords are incorporated within the document. Now, in a previous video, I did share some excellent tips on how you can properly target and tailor your resume for your job search. I'll go ahead and drop the link to it below in the description box so that you can check it out. And a lot of people think that targeting your resume is hard, but I promise you that it's not. It really boils down to just making sure that the information that you're highlighting on your resume and that you're including within your resume is relevant to the jobs that you're applying to. So for example, don't go applying to a project management job with a resume that has accounting information on it. And don't go applying to a marketing job that has accounting information on it, and so on and so forth. If you are going for a marketing job, if you're going for an accounting accounting job, make sure that the information in your resume is relevant to specifically that. So highlight your accounting experience and your accounting related education. Highlight your marketing experience and your marketing related education. And also do some keyword research before you begin applying to jobs to figure out exactly what hiring managers and recruiters are looking for in resumes so that you have a better chance of getting past the applicant tracking system. And please do not go keyword stuffing your resume just so you can get past the ATS. Remember, if it does get past the ATS, an actual human recruiter is going to read it, and they're going to realize if you copy and pasted the job description entirely in your resume, or if you threw a bunch of keywords in there that don't make sense or are not aligned with your experience and your background. What you want to do is browse between 5 to 7 jobs to take a look at the words and the phrases and the verbiage that recruiters are using in these posts and link them to your actual experience and put them in your resume. And when you do incorporate those keywords into your resume, it should flow and sound natural. So those are some things that you should check and take a look at on your resume before you hit quick apply or before you hit submit. Because I promise you, if your resume has any of those 5 things on it, you may be looking at more rejection emails, which is never a good thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, hit the like button below. If you need assistance with your resume for your job search, I will be more than happy to help you. Feel free to visit my website at www.thompsonresumes.com. You can also email me directly at hello@thompsonresumes.com. I will see you all next week with another video. Bye, you guys.